Well, a new season for most fans is, of course, a time of real excitement and, of course, that powerful drug hope. But for Sheffield Wednesday and Morecambe, this summer for both clubs has been the stuff of absolute nightmares. Let's just remind you of where things stand with both these clubs at the start of this new season. First of all, let's have a look at how things stand with Sheffield Wednesday. Yesterday, the players and staff did get paid their July wages, so that did come through yesterday. But in terms of the rest of the picture at the club, it remains very worrying indeed. The club under those two separate transfer embargoes. Question marks remain over the long-term funding of the club. The EFL has made it clear that the current owner must fund the club to meet its financial obligations. Chansiri, the owner, looking to sell, but yet to receive an offer that he's found acceptable. Tomorrow, they open their account against Leicester with a squad of just 15 first-team players, and fans have planned various protests at the game. It's a game you can see live on Sky Sports. In terms of Morecambe, who were relegated from League Two last season, were due to be starting off the National League campaign away to Boston United today. Well, that game not happening, and they now face the imminent prospect of closure due to that deepening financial crisis. The reason the game not happening today, the club suspended from the National League, pending a review of their financial obligations and whether indeed they can fulfil them this season. That meeting to come on August the 20th. So their first three fixtures all postponed. The owner of the club at Morecambe, Jason Whittingham, well, he announced a deal to sell the club to the Punjab Warriors back in July, but later pulled out, didn't offer an explanation as to why. And football operations have ceased entirely after their insurance policy was allowed to lapse. So at the moment, the players not even able to train together at the training ground. It is deeply worrying for Morecambe. And it's deeply worrying, Clinton, for one of your old clubs, Sheffield Wednesday. It's felt with Chansiri that this trouble has been brewing for a while. When you look at that, you look at where they are. They've got 15 players available tomorrow. We don't know yet whether Barry Ban, who signed that new contract because of restrictions, will actually be all registered in time to play. But how worried are you right now?
No, massively worried. As we said, it's a huge football club. I had a couple of years there. Feel sorry for the players, the staff there, and in particular the fans. As I said that many times with that football club, it's a massive football club. You're looking at the chairman and saying, well, listen, if you can't run the club how it's supposed to be run at the moment, maybe the best way is to just try and sell that football club, because you don't want that club to go out of business without a shadow of a doubt. And the way it's looking at the moment, I know the players, I think the wages have been paid now, but they keep being delayed, and it's just not right at the moment. They were meant to play their last pre-season game last week against Burnley, and the players weren't having any of it. And obviously there was talk of this weekend. I'm glad they're playing, but this could galvanise them and get beyond them. But the club needs to be sorted out. A club like Sheffield Wednesday shouldn't be in this trouble. So hopefully the owner can get someone to buy that football club, because it's a huge football club and deserves a lot more, and so do those fans as well.
Yeah, but at the moment he wants a price that reflects his investment, and at the moment, as we understand, he's not getting that. But I just wonder whether overall, when you look back at Chansiri's time at the club, Clinton, you know, he's liked to be front and centre of things until things began to go wrong. At forums, he would often speak for quite a long while, didn't put in a chief executive, didn't put in a sporting director. He was asking for trouble, wasn't he, by trying to do it all himself. It almost at times looked a bit of an ego project.
Yeah, it is ego, but listen, it's his money. He can do what he wants with his money, and that's what happens with the chairman. But
if you want to protect your money, you run
got
the
to do
club
it
in the
properly.
right way.
Exactly, so you have to. So it was his ego that got the better of him. And you're right, he didn't get players staff like chief exec to help him run the football club. And this shows any chairman that wants to run a football club. It is not easy. It is difficult. You need the right people behind you and the right people to help you invest in it and make it the right way. You can see here with signs, Sheffield Wednesday fans, they're not happy, and I think they were happy at the start when he took over the club, but not now. He needs to sell the club, and I know he wants to get the money back, what he paid for it, but that's not going to happen now, Si. It's not going to happen, because people out there be looking and saying they're banging trouble at the moment financially. He's desperate for the money, so they wait for him to lower the price. But I hope it gets sorted, because, as I said many times, a club like that and the fans and the players and the staff that work there don't deserve it. They lost their manager, Danny Rao, who was a top manager for them, done ever so well, and there was a lot of arguments between him and the chairman, and it just doesn't sit right with me at the moment. So hopefully, and this is happening too much times with football clubs.
And also, shouldn't forget the North Stand is closed as well, so season ticket holders there not able to take their usual seats because of the council putting a prohibition notice on the North Stand at the moment. And Merce, we often talk about the impact on the players, but Clinton's absolutely right. When you look at the situation at Sheffield Wednesday, and particularly you look at the situation at Morecambe, it's those people behind the scenes. When you think of your time at Walsall, it's those people that it really, really hurts. But in terms of, you know, putting food on the table back at home, This is a tough time, isn't it?
And for the players. And for the players as well. You know, these players are not getting Premier League wages. They're not, you know, and if they go 2-3 months without getting paid, they won't be able to meet their mortgage payments. You know, people forget that. We all think about the Premier League and the 200 and 300 grand a week. It's not like that in League Two and League, you know. And for me, you feel for everybody. Yeah, you know, these teams are supported from teams from granddads to kids now for many and many years. And, you know, for someone like Morecambe, I always think it's a terrible rule. I think League 1 and 2 should have a choice if they want to have an AstroTurf pitch, in my opinion. You should be able to have an Astro, and that keeps you funded the whole year with the community, people renting it out, and it's always getting used. There's always income coming in. You know, I think this rule's got to be changed, and I think, you know, we look at Bury, sad as well. Bury go. If Bury had an AstroTurf pick, I'm sure that AstroTurf pick, I'm sure they'll still be there now. I'm sure they would still be there now.
Not Astro, 4G.
4G. I'm showing my age, aren't I? I'm showing my age.
Not a time for
but 4G or 5G, whatever it is.
Yeah,
but that's the thing. But Sheffield Wednesday, my God, what a club. What a massive football club. It's a shame. It devastates me how a club can get to this stage, you know, and it can be allowed to get to this stage. You're talking about, you know, this is a big football club, a big city, Sheffield, with 2 big clubs in it. They fill the stadiums out.
Ground that used to host FA Cup semi-finals.
And they can't pay the wages. It's beyond a joke. Beyond a joke.
Puts the pressure on the government new regulator to get this in order in terms of owners. But Sue, just looking at the situation at Morecambe, I mean, it's even more desperate. They can't fulfil their fixture because they're suspended for 3 games. It would have been against Boston United in the National League today. But there's so much positivity around the club from the fans. I mean, they headed down in their huge numbers to the Beach Cafe, I think, on Tuesday, Morecambe, to queue for the new kit. There were queues round the corner. And actually, Merce mentioning Bury there, I mean, expelled by the EFL back in 2019, actually extending a welcome to Morecambe fans to come and join them for their opening game today, because a lot of the fans talking about looking on with jealousy at the start of a new season. We want to be going to support our club, but right now we can't. That meeting to come on August the 20th, how much do you now fear for Morecambe?
I do, I really do, and I think it shows, doesn't it, where like football fans come together. You know, it doesn't matter what team you support, you go and you want to help other fans that are going through maybe a similar sort of thing to what Morecambe are going through at the moment, because it is horrible to see that, and you do really fear for them. And you know, the football clubs, they're at the heart of communities, aren't they? You know, the emotional effect that it's going to have on families, like Mer said, it's passed down, isn't it, from granddad right the way down, you know, from generation to generation. You support your football club, so it has a massive effect on everybody. Of course, the players, the staff, you know, the people that surround that football club, but the fans as well. And like you say, they're out to support their club. Everyone's looking forward to the start of the season. They don't know what's going to happen, so they want that clarity. So, yeah, it's horrible to see from a Sheffield Wednesday and a Morecambe perspective, and you just hope that something's going to get resolved.
And Dawes, difficult for you to put yourself in their boots because of the career that you had. Can you even begin to imagine what it must be like for those Morecambe players? They're itching to get their season started. But it's a no-go at the moment.
Yeah, you can. They'll be training individually. They'll be thinking, when are we going to get paid? How do I look after my family? It's a challenging time. And like Merce said, the Premier League's glitz and glamour. You don't get paid for a month, there's no problem, you can survive. But these guys down the lower leagues, every month will be down car payments, mortgage payments, and ultimately the fans. It's a sad situation that an owner will not sell a football club when someone is willing to buy it. That's what gets me. Not the fact that you see it at Sheffield Wednesday with the owners and people want, just sell up. If you don't want to put your money in, if you run out of money, sell it, get your money and let someone take charge, because football is huge, and so many fans of Morecambe today will be missing out on going and watching it.
They sadly will, but one set of fans that know all about that threat of extinction are those at AFC Wimbledon, who formed their own club, and that's after, you'll probably remember, the owners relocated the original site to Milton Keynes back in 2003. Well, Sam Abasagi has been talking to superfan Lee Willett in light of the news surrounding Sheffield Wednesday and, of course, the club we were just talking about, Morecambe.
So, Lee, we're seeing what's happening with Morecambe and Sheffield Wednesday. How can you relate to what the fans are currently going through?
So I think as Wimbledon fans, we've been there. I mean, we are a story as hard and clear as anything that it actually did happen. On the 28th of May 2002, our club was there 1 minute, and the next minute it was gone. It was like day into night or turning off a light switch. Wimbledon Football Club was there, and then it was taken away from us. And I think the really, really important point to bear in mind about this is that it isn't just us and it isn't just Morecambe. It's happening with clubs that haven't yet lost their football club, but have lost that connection between the fans and the leadership, and the fans don't have a say in what the leaders and what therefore the club is doing. And that is part of the problem. And one of the things that we learned from it is that the way to have a say in your football club and where it goes is to have ownership of that club and be the community that owns the club and have that club as part of the community, which is where we are now and what you have here.
And what does it mean for a community to potentially lose a football club? Like that process, what does that feel like?
So on the 28th of May 2002, when we were all going about our daily lives, as you do as a football fan, and doing things like going to work every day, but also in our case protesting against the move, we found out that the club had been given permission to move 70 miles up the road. And that night at a pub called the Fox and Grapes in Wimbledon, which is where the team back in 1889 first started training and changing and playing, the fans gravitated there to come together just to say, just to be together at the moment of what do we do now? But the important thing is there were people already there, the people behind the club, and by the people I mean the fans behind the club, were going around and saying, we can do this again, we can start over. And people were thinking they were slightly crazy, but one of the advantages that we had after quite a number of years of fighting with our club about moves to Dublin and to other places is that we had a plan B ready to go. We had people, fans, with a plan that they put into practice, and this is what you have as a result of that 20 years on. This is the sign of what you can do if you are a bunch of supporters and you work with your community and with the people in the club to make something happen. So while I look at Morecambe and I'm heartbroken for Morecambe fans for what they're going through now and the pain they must be feeling, because when you lose your football club overnight, it isn't like you've just been fired from a job or something. We all know that football fans go to football and are into their club every second of every day that they live their lives. So when you have that ripped out, you can't just switch off and go, oh well, because it does matter. It's part of your life. It really does matter. So all I would say to Morecambe fans is that as much as it's heartbreaking now what they're going through, and we really feel that, they can start over and go again, even if they have to start again at different levels and whatever. And we are living proof that you can do that. If you've got enough fans that are committed to do it, it's possible. Anything is possible.
Well, let's hope that'll be the case for Morecambe and, of course, Sheffield Wednesday as well.